Hey guys, Pulsating Sack back with another video. Today we're going to go over to the Rarity in-game variation. But before that, I wanted to answer some common questions asked in the last video. So one, how do we generate power charges, right? So to generate power charges, you have to have Combat Frenzy, right? So gain a Frenzy charge when you freeze, electrocute, or pin an enemy. So with that, we're going to take Resonance. So we gain power charges instead of frenzy charges. And it's based on elements. So since we are off of freeze and shock, you really need I Am the Blizzard for extra cold damage. And you really want Essence of the Mountain for more cold damage, right? So we already have built-in shock into our build. So shock's really not as hard to get as the extra cold damage. So that's how we generate our charges. Now, how do we keep our charges? Right? So that's the next thing. So on Flicker Strike, you want to quality it. That's going to give you an extra 20% chance not to remove charges on use. And then we also have the gem. Where's it at? Right here. Perpetual Charge. Supported skills have a 35% chance not to remove charges. Right? So that's 55% chance that we don't lose our charges every time we Flicker Strike. So that's how we're keeping our power charges. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is you do not want to run maps with increased element threshold. It's going to be so much harder to shock and freeze. It's going to make the build feel bad. You're still going to be able to do the map. It's just not going to be nearly as fun. You're not going to get the screen pops that you're wanting. And, you know, that's pretty much it with that. Just don't run that mod. And then I wanted to give a couple shout outs. So shout out to Don the Crown for the Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder tech. We're only using half of it because we have shock built into our charge staff, but getting the Herald of Thunder to help freeze is really nice. And then shout out to Fubgun for the Breach Magic Find strats. I'll link both of their videos in the description. So next we're going to cut to an example of what Breach looks like with this build, and then we'll go over the gear, the gems, the atlas, and as always I will have an updated written guide in the description as well. So let's get to it.
No mana. The mighty fall.
Here's the Atlas tree. It's very similar to the last tree. You see, we're still taking the nodes. We didn't change the ascendancy at all. However, the main difference is we dropped some attack speed nodes. We dropped these up here. I really like these, but we had to drop them because we lost some survivability when we switched to Rarity gear. So we moved down here and we took Subterfuge Mask and we switched to a full ES helmet, which gives us more evasion still, and then our max energy shield back to where we felt comfortable before. So we're still at 83% evasion, which I think it's completely fine. And 2k ES with 1500 life. We really don't die. We may die occasionally to something random chaos related because we aren't chaos res cap. But other than that, it's a very tanky build still. And we gained a lot of damage through the gear because we switched to Hand of Wisdom. So losing the attack speed, we're actually still in a much better spot than before. I'm going to have a link to this in the comments, so you won't have to worry about trying to memorize this or use the video to copy it. But this is what we're using. Like I said, still very similar, just a little bit more defensive, less attack speed. Cutting to the gear here, I want to keep this section smaller. I had some constructive criticism last time saying I took too long to go through it all, so I'll put more of the depth of the gear into the actual written guide. But my idea here is a bit into attribute stacking, but it's a bit half-baked because I just switched last night. But mainly you want to stack more dex and int, not necessarily strength, because we're not changing our weapon. So I'm just going to go over it quickly, what you should aim for. On the weapon, it's the same as last time. High Fizz, attack speed, melee skills, mana leech. The helmet is going to be double rarity, int or dex, highest ES possible. Amulet, you want rarity, melee skills, elemental res, ES, attributes. And we're going to anoint Doomsayer on this. The armor is going to be increased attributes and increased rarity with rarity in the sockets. And then we have rings. You really want like cold damage, lightning damage, rarity, resistance, maybe some max life. It's an example of what we're using. Gloves is going to be Hand of Wisdom and Action. This is what's going to give us more attack speed and lightning damage based on our dex and intellect. And then we have Ingenuity. This is what's going to make our rings give us insane rarity and then resistance and all that. So you want as much on your rings as possible. Your rings are probably going to be fairly expensive. And then boots is going to be movement speed, dex or int, chaos res to get your chaos resistance up, or other types of resistance, etc. So, hey, that's it for the gear. There's going to be more in the written guide going over everything. Alright, here's the gems here. Not too much has changed, but we do have some changes. But we have Tempest Flurry with Electrocute, Martial Tempo, Crescendo, Primal Armament, Rage, Charge Staff with Persistence, Overcharge, Conduction, and Shock Siphon. So this is going to give us our shock and then a bit of extra survivability. Flicker Strike with Heft, Heavy Swing, Perpetual Charge, Ambush, and Close Combat. Combat Frenzy with Perfusion. Wind Dancer with Pin, Blind, Main. Herald of Ice with Innervate, Cold Mastery, Magnified Effect. I need to add something here. I just haven't put anything yet. I'll have something in the guide most likely when I figure out what I want to add. Grim Feast, Ghost Dance, and then Herald of Thunder with Long Shot, Ice Bite, Lightning Mastery, Glaciation. Now, we took out Tempest Bell to fit everything, mainly to fit Herald of Thunder, but you can keep it in your inventory and you can use it for bosses if you need to. It's just crazy boss damage. So if you end up doing a boss map and you want to kill the boss really quick, just throw Tempest Belt over Herald of Thunder. Your fifth link would be Close Combat, but we're currently using it in Flicker Strike. But either way, with just the 4 link, you're going to do more than enough damage to kill any boss. We've killed the Pinnacle Breach boss with the 30 million health one or whatever with just this Tempest Bell with 4 link. So you're going to do plenty of damage on bosses even still, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But yep, that's the gems, and I'll have this in the guide as well, so take a look at that. Just some final thoughts. This is obviously a very expensive in-game build, and just know Rarity may get nerfed in the future, so I just wanted you to be aware of that. We hit 300% rarity on this character. On top of juicing the breaches, we usually get another 200 plus magic find on the map with additional quantity. It's a lot of fun in my opinion. And I do have some secret tech planned for if Herald of Ice gets nerfed, or if Rarity gets nerfed, we will just stack more damage and become a boss killer. At the end of the day, it's about adapting and having fun. So if you don't enjoy Rarity builds, then this build probably isn't for you. It's just a little shout out to myself. I'm streaming over on Twitch, so come hang out, ask any questions. I'd love to see you there. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a like and a sub, and I will see you guys next time.